What's going on YouTube? This is ParkerLad88 coming at you with another video. I'm sorry guys if I sound a little stuffery right now. I just got a cold yesterday that I've been getting over and it's tiring me out and I can't breathe and it's horrible. But anyway, despite that, I'm going to press on and I have a deck profile for you guys featuring my World Chalice build. I really like World Chalice. I like how combo oriented they are. They're pretty fun. But I'll give my thoughts about that at the end of this video. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into my deck profile. I hope you guys like it. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started with our monster count. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to run 3 copies of the Shine Ball. I'm opting for the Venus engine over the Brilliant Fusion engine with the transmodifies and whatnot. I don't like Brilliant Fusion and anything that isn't Gem Knights, and that is my sole reason why I don't want to run the Brilliant Fusion engine. It's strictly for Gem Knights. I really love my Gem Knights, and I don't want to disgrace them by running that engine in every deck like in the world. So anyway, we start with our 3 Shine Balls. Next up we have our other normal guys. We have 2 Crowned, we have 3 Chosen, and then we have 3 of the, what's this name? Beckoned. My phone's kind of far away, so I can't really see through it, but anyway, I like running this ratio of the guys. I really don't feel like you have to run 3 of all of them. You can if you want to. I think that it's unnecessary. You can just get by with Crowned at 2. That's the ratio that works out for me. And that does it for all of our normal guys. Next up, Venus engine. So of course we have to run 3 Venuses. Venus lets us swarm with our Shine Balls and let us go for Crazy Link Blaze. Doesn't really much to be said about that. Next up, we have 3 copies of our Searcher in the form of Lee. Lee is a 2, so we can transmodify her into the Venus. So if we don't have this card right here, the Chalice, we go ahead and summon this, we grab the Chalice, and then we can transmodify it into the Lee. Lee makes the normals, then we go with our wacky plays from there. In addition to being a Searcher, she also gets herself back from the graveyard by tossing any monster out of your hand. So if you have extra Venuses or something like that you want to get rid of, or Guard Dragons that you want to get rid of, toss them into the graveyard so you can use their effects and you get her back in hand. Even though I forget to do this, it's really important that after you do all your plays, if you do have monsters in hand, toss her out so you can get her back in your hand during your opponent's turn. Because when your monsters go to graveyard, your World Chalice, and they will, you can special summon her from your hand, get that search off during your opponent's turn, and then if she ends up back in the graveyard, you can just get her back to search again, or special summon her, or whatever the heck. But anyway, really important stuff there. We have 3 copies of, well, we should have 3 copies, I don't know where the other one is, but let me see. Yeah, it's in here somewhere. Anyway, we're supposed to have 3 copies of the World Legacy World Chalice. This guy does a lot of things, but the main thing that it does is whenever it's normal summon or set, whenever it leaves the field, you get 2 World Chalice guys from your deck. They can be the same, they can be with different names, I believe. Once again, they can't read it from here. I'm just going to go ahead and say with different names, but I think it's really just any 2 that you want. That's the main effect. It helps you get your combo started. What's really nice is if you have a normal and this in hand, you use Imduck in order to get your extra normal summon, then you use Imduck in order to get this, and then you use it in order to get your search with the lead, and go on with your plays from there. In addition to that, what it also says is if a monster is special summoned from the extra deck while this is on the field, you can just send this to the graveyard, tribute it, in order to send that monster to the graveyard as well. It doesn't destroy, so it's really good for not allowing monsters to recruit off of that, and that ability is also not tied to it being normal summoned or set. So with Arum, for instance, you can bring this back out of your graveyard, and if you're placing an opponent who is really special summon heavy from the extra deck or whatever, you can just be like, okay, this goes, and then still back in your graveyard for whenever you choose to search with it, which is its last effect. Except for the turn it's sent to the graveyard, you can banish it from your graveyard in order to search for a World Legacy card. It can search for itself, which is cool, and then it also searches for a World Legacy Heart, of which we run 1. Next up, we have 2 copies of the Guard Dragon. So Guard Dragon's really cool because it's their hand trap. Basically, if your opponent targets one of your linked monsters with a card effect, you can pitch this from your hand, negate, destroy it. This also, you can also banish this from your graveyard in order to special summon a normal from your graveyard back to your field. So really important that it just has to be linked to a linked monster. So it can target anything that's linked to a linked monster. Alright, now for my super spicy secret tech. Because we're not running the Brilliant Fusion engine, I opted for some other cards, and one being Draconet. Draconet is actually low-key really good in this deck because it says you can fish a normal, level 2 or lower normal monster from either your deck or your hand. So this deck has lots of little 2-card combos that it does in order to, you know, get off all its plays. So that's pretty much the way that I designed this deck. The more ways that I can get to those little 2-card combos, the better it is. So these basically act in a sense as like secondary Venuses. So if I have this plus Transmodify, then, you know, I can do plays from that. If I have this plus the World Chalice, then I can do plays from that. If I have this plus I want to say Lee, then I can do that too. But, you know, like I said, this just lets me do more 2-card combos, and it's really cool because basically once you, depending on whether you have Transmodify or the Chalice, you can, let's say, get Crowned, for instance, go for Imda, contribute this off the Chalice, and then go on with your plays from there. So it works out. More spicy tech. We have one copy of the Silent Swordsman. I really don't use him a lot. I just thought, you know, putting him in would be fun for disrupting plays because I do run Rhoda at 1 in this deck, and I just wanted something else to search, just because I have so many other ways to get to Beckon via the other cards in my deck that we'll get to, and with the other World Chalice monsters, that I wanted another search target, and I really like him for, you know, his ability to negate spells and stuff. It's just something extra that your opponent has to play around, and the longer he stays on the field, the bigger he gets, so that makes him pretty decent. 1 Max C because, you know, Max C. Moving into our spells, we run 3 copies. I really wonder where that Chalice went. Anyway, we run 3 copies of Transmodify. I probably don't need to run 3 copies, but like I said, I just want to maximize being able to get to those little 2-card combos in this deck since I'm not using the Brilliant Fusion engine, and Transmodify can definitely do that. If I open up with Lee Transmodify, I've got my combo there. If I open up with Draconet Shine Ball, I've got my combo there. If I open up with just a Shine Ball in my hand, I can still do things, so I like having the Transmodify at 3 just to make sure I get it. And then because I'm running Emerald, I can put back my Shine Balls just so I can Transmodify whatever again and keep going with my plays. We have 2 copies of Unexpected Die. I really like Unexpected Die. Lets you get a normal monster for free. Makes you not commit, because you just play this, get a normal, and you can go ahead and go for Induct right off the bat. And if your opponent hits one of your plays, since this deck is really susceptible to being stopped in its normal summon, if you commit with your normal summon, then, you know, you still have your normal summon. You probably won't have the most optimal play, but it works, and I really like this at 2. Just make sure I see it. 1 more Legacy Heart. This card's pretty good. If one of my linked monsters would be destroyed by battle, I can banish this from my graveyard in order to prevent it from being destroyed by battle, and then it basically acts as like a salvage or a Dark Factory mass production to get back whatever. I've seen builds that do run Dark Factory mass destruction. I don't think it's necessary because of this card, because you honestly don't use it anymore than once a turn anyway, so that's one of my search targets for the World Legacy World Chalice. 1 Rhoda, like I said, for the Beckoned, and also for the other thing, the Silent Swordsman. 2 Chalices just to stop things. Soul Charge. So this deck can burn through its resources pretty quickly, and Soul Charge can help make your boards better, or, you know, get back things if your opponent tries to disrupt your plays, or, you know, just wombo combo. 1 E-Telly for the guy chosen. And for traps, we only run 3 traps. We run 2 Strike, and we run 1 Solemn Warning. It's pretty simple. Alright, moving into the extra deck, we start with 1 copy of Ningirsu, the World Chalice Warrior. So what this guy does is, whenever he's link summoned, you can draw cards equal to the number of other World Chalice monsters that he points to, so you can get up to 3 draws, which is cool. I'm fine with getting 2, honestly. If I can't get 3 on board, 2 is perfectly fine, but if you can get 3, hey, why not get 3? His other effect states that he can send 1 card on both players' side of the field to the graveyard. You send both. That effect does not target, which makes it really good removal, and that effect is not a hard once per turn. So basically, if he lasts 1 turn, then on your next turn you can use his ability and then go for another arm, bring him back out, and use it again. So it actually makes him pretty cool. And next, we run 3 copies of Arum. So what Arum does, he's your main combo facilitator, because he lets you target, you tribute a World Chalice monster that he points to, and then you target a monster, any monster in your graveyard, and special summon it. So it doesn't have to be just World Chalice, it can be any monster. It can be like Firewall Dragon, it can be like Gaia Saber or whatever. You just have to tribute a World Chalice that he points to. So for that reason, he's really good at extending combos. After this goes to graveyard for your Firewall Dragon, or because it dies or whatever, now you have a 2-card Ningirsu because you can just go into him with 2 World Chalices, bring him back, and then let him do his thing. So that's why I really like Arm. It's funny. Sorry, I guess that was a little long-winded. Sorry. Anyway, next up we have 2 copies of IB, the World Chalice. So what she does, she takes 2 monsters with different attributes and types. She also, what she does is she's basically the deck's protection, so to speak. Survivability, I guess is probably a better term, because she really doesn't stop your opponent from doing anything. What she does is, as long as she's linked to anything, meaning that as long as something points to her or she points to something, she cannot be destroyed by battle or destroyed by card effects. Also, she cannot be targeted by card effects. And if something that she points to or linked to, I can't remember which one it is, I think it's points to, would be destroyed by card effects, you can send her to the graveyard instead. So she helps protect other things, and then she herself is protected from targeting effects, destroyed by card effects, destroyed by battle, that kind of thing. Next up we have this guy. He is your Catastor slash Seraph Knight, per se. Gives you an extra normal summon of a World Chalice monster. He's the starting guy of all your combos because he is a link one, easy to make. And then he also acts as a Catastor. Whatever he points to, whenever he engages in battle with it, he just goes pop and kills it outright. So that's pretty cool. I actually used this to take down an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno once. Anyway, pretty good. Next up we have our generic link monsters in the forms of Link Spider. Link Spider is really good to use people's tokens with in order to go for him. He can also help you go for some combos as well, because whenever he is Link Summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower normal monster right below him, because that's where he points. So what you can do, for instance, is you can go for him in some specific situations, put a World Chalice monster below him, use that World Chalice monster to go for Imduck, tribute this for the World Chalice, and then just go on with your plays from there. So there's some situations where you can do that. Proxy Dragon, he's just a generic 2, which is good. I generally like to save him, but sometimes now that I bumped IB down to 2, I'd rather use him to make the Ningirsu as opposed to using my second IB without a way to put it back. But anyway, what he does is if a monsters would be destroyed by battle or card effect, I can destroy something else that he points to instead. So he deals with that pesky mass removal. Something takes one for the team. We have Gaia Saber. Gaia Saber is just a generic 3 that helps us go for Firewall Dragon. Firewall Dragon being one of the main guys. So Firewall Dragon, the main effect of him is that once while he's on the field, you can target a number of cards in the graveyard or on the field equal to the number of things that he's co-linked to, so meaning something points to him and he points to something. And you bounce those things back to hand. Oh boy. Anyway, you bounce those things back to hand. You can only do that one time. His other really retarded effect is that whenever something that he points to is sent to graveyard, that he can oh jeez, my hand hurts from holding this phone. What he can do is he can special summon. You can special summon any guy you want from your hand, so you can use it to go for, like, you grab Venus out of your hand or Leaves to search and just keep on going on with your plays. So let's say you have a guy here, you can use it to go for Link Summon, his effect will go off, or you can special summon it anywhere you want. So yeah, I don't get many opportunities to abuse him, but when I do, it's pretty good. Ugh. Next up, we have the last 2 cards in the deck, which are Invoker and Emerald. I run a lot of 3s in this deck, so Invoker is really easy to make. He gives me an instant rank 2, and then he can give me multiple attributes on field when I do my combos, so that I can go for an instant IB if I feel like I really need to. It's just another way for me to get to Chosen, and then I can tribute out for Chosen for a Silent Swordsman if I really need to. I might take Silent Swordsman out, but for now, we'll see. And of course, the last edition we have Gaia Gusto Emerald. Puts back your cards, mostly Shine Balls, or gives your deck some last ability, gives you an extra draw. But it's funny, when I was playing him in Eternity Day, I found that I was actually using his other effect to let me special summon a normal or non-effect monster or whatever from my graveyard. I think it's non-effect monster. And, the same way that Invoker does, he lets me go for, an easy Link 2. So, pretty handy that way. That's why, and you know, the more I play this deck, the more I realize that this deck having issues in the late game isn't so much of an issue, because in a bunch of the games I played today, even though they went into time, it really wasn't an issue worrying about like decking out or running out of resources or anything like that, because the game is usually over by that time anyway. So I find that even though everyone's drawing effect is nice, I actually find that using that ability is a lot more handy. Anyway guys, so that does it for my deck profile of World Chalice. Let me know what you guys think of it, and I'll be back at you later with future videos. This is Sparkle Lad out.